Hey everyone, ready to jump into some AI career talk. It feels like things are changing so fast with new tools and new terms, it can be, honestly, a little scary.
It's true, the AI world moves quickly.
But that's why we're here to break it all down. We found this awesome YouTube video, a Google Canada engineer, talking about AI careers, and it's got some great advice.
Yeah, it's a really useful resource, especially for figuring out how to get started or level up in AI.
So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack those core skills you need, look at different career paths, like how does software engineering compare with data science in the AI world, and most importantly, figure out how you can get started in AI. First things first, what is the difference between AI and generative AI? They're not the same thing, right?
Right, they're not exactly the same. AI or artificial intelligence is this big, broad term, kind of like a giant umbrella.
Okay, I like that. A giant umbrella.
It covers pretty much anything that tries to, you know, mimic human thinking. Like think of Siri, your virtual assistant.
Well, okay, so Siri is AI.
Exactly, a good example of AI in action. But then you have generative AI, which is more specific. This is where tools like ChatGPT or DALL-E come in, those tools that create new content like text or images.
Okay, so Siri is like our friendly AI,
Hmm.
always there to help, and ChatGPT is the creative one, the writer or the artist. But they're both part of the same family, just with different talents.
That's a great way to put it.
Now, with all this talk about AI comes the big question, will AI take our jobs?
I think a lot of people are worried about that, and it's a valid concern. But maybe instead of fearing replacement, we should look at how we can use AI to actually make our work better. Think back to when computers first started showing up in
Oh
banks.
yeah, there was a lot of fear around that too.
Right. But instead of eliminating jobs, computers actually transformed the banking industry. Now you can't imagine banking without them.
So it's kind of like, if you can't beat them, join them, applied to the AI world.
Yeah, exactly.
But what does joining them look like? How do we actually do that?
I think the first step is to, well, ditch the fear and get curious. Really dive into those AI tools that are out there and see what they can do. Don't just read headlines, actually play around with ChatGPT, try creating something with DALL-E. Get hands-on and see what happens.
I like that. Get hands-on. But there's so much happening. How do you keep up with all the new developments? It's overwhelming.
It can be,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all about continuous learning, staying curious about what's new, but also what's coming next. Like those large language models, LLMs, they're getting so much more sophisticated. They have these things called context windows that are expanding, meaning they can take in more information and give you even more detailed outputs. Keeping up with those advancements can help you stay ahead of the game.
So it's like learning a new language. You wouldn't just learn a couple phrases and stop there.
Exactly.
You keep learning, expand your vocabulary.
Yeah, and just like language, the better you understand AI, the
Right.
better you'll be able to talk to data. You'll go beyond just analysis and start having a real conversation with it, uncovering insights that you wouldn't have seen with traditional methods.
I like that, a conversation with data. It's almost like data is becoming a character we can interact with. Okay, but honestly, with all the excitement around these generative AI tools, it's tempting to jump right into using them without really understanding the fundamentals of traditional machine learning. Is that a bad idea?
It's tempting, for sure, but it might be a bit like using a calculator without understanding basic math. You might get the answer, but you won't really know how you got there. Having that solid base in machine learning, knowing how to evaluate models, what regression and classification are, that gives you a much deeper understanding of how AI actually works. Then, even when you're using these advanced tools, you'll know what's going on under the hood.
So it's like, yeah, we want to play with the cool new tools, but we also need to respect the fundamentals, kind of like building a house. Got to have a
Yeah.
strong foundation before you can start adding on all the fancy stuff. So how does this all connect to actual career paths? We say AI careers, but what does that really mean?
Well, there are a few different ways to get into AI, depending on what you're interested in. Two common paths are software engineering and data science, both focused on AI, but from different angles.
Okay, so two paths to the same destination. Tell me more about those different angles.
Sure, so software engineers in AI are the builders.
The builders, okay.
They design and create those systems and applications that actually power AI solutions. They need to be great coders, comfortable with languages like Python and frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. But it's not just about the code. They also need to understand how AI works, how the algorithms work, what data they need, how to make them run smoothly.
So they're not just writing code, they're building the systems that let AI think and do its thing.
Exactly. And then you have data scientists in AI. They're more like detectives, using AI to solve tricky problems and find those hidden patterns in data. They need that strong base in statistics, machine learning, and data analysis, but also how to use different generative AI techniques.
So less about building the systems and more about using them to uncover insights and solutions.
You got it. And the cool thing is, both paths lead to a career in AI. It just depends on what you enjoy more. Do you like building things from scratch, or are you more into using those tools to solve problems?
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Okay, but let's get specific. What skills are employers actually looking for? What do we need to focus on to stand out in the AI job market?
Well, there are some foundational skills that are essential for both paths. Python is a must-have. It's like the language of AI.
Okay, Python is key.
Yeah, and a strong grasp of machine learning, deep learning, and those popular frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. Those are your building blocks, the basics you need.
Okay, so Python, machine learning, deep learning, got it. And then it kind of branches out from there, depending on if you're going the software engineering route or the data science route.
Right, exactly. For software engineers in AI, system design is huge. You need to know how to build systems that can handle the demands of AI applications. Think scalable, robust systems. Data structures and algorithms are also super important. They're like the backbone of efficient code. And increasingly, expertise in those AI-related operations, MLOps, LMOps, that's becoming super valuable.
So it's not just about writing the code, but also thinking about how it all fits together, making sure it works in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the data science side, you need a good handle on those generative AI techniques. Think prompt engineering, like how to talk to ChatGPT to get what you want, RAG architecture, fine-tuning pre-trained models, even building your own LLMs. Data engineering skills are also becoming increasingly important, knowing how to handle all that data.
Because data doesn't always come neatly packaged and ready to go.
No, not at all. You need to be able to find it, clean it, make it usable. And the more different types of data sources you can handle, the more powerful your analyses will be.
This is all so fascinating, but I'm sure our listeners are thinking, okay, how do I actually land an AI job? I can learn all this stuff, but how do I go from learning to getting hired?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the key here is it's not enough to just study the concepts. You need to show employers that you can actually build with AI.
It's less talk in the talk, more walk in the walk.
Exactly. Show them what you can do. And the good news is it's easier than ever to start building with AI. There are tools like Replit that let you create simple projects really quickly and experiment with different AI concepts.
So even small projects can make a difference.
Absolutely. It's all about showing you're engaged, that you can take what you've learned and actually create something with it.
It's like building a portfolio, proving you can do the work.
Exactly. And don't forget, AI is becoming more and more integrated into all kinds of jobs, even those that aren't traditionally tech roles. So it's not just about becoming an AI specialist, it's about understanding how AI can impact your field and finding ways to use it to your advantage.
So the takeaway is AI is everywhere and it's changing everything.
It really is.
We need to embrace it and figure out how we can use it to make our work better, our lives better, and maybe even the world a little bit better.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, we've talked a lot about the different skills you need for an AI career, but let's dive a little deeper into those two main paths we outlined earlier. Software engineering and data science and AI. Can we break those down a bit more for our listeners?
Sure, let's start with software engineering. Remember, these are the builders of the AI world, the ones who create those systems and applications that power AI solutions.
Okay, the builders. What makes them different?
They need a strong foundation in programming languages, especially Python. It's kind of like their main tool. And they need to be familiar with those machine learning frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. These frameworks are essential for building and training AI models.
So it's not just writing any code. It's about writing code that specifically works with AI systems.
Right, it's specialized coding for AI, and it goes beyond just the code itself. They also have to think about how to design those systems so they can handle the unique demands of AI.
What are some of those demands?
Well, AI models can be really resource intensive, meaning they need a lot of computing power and storage. So software engineers have to figure out how to build systems that are scalable and efficient. Because if the system can't handle the AI model, it won't work.
So it's like they're not just building a house, they're building a house that can support a giant robot living inside.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And then there's a whole other area, AI-related operations, or what we call MLOps and LLMops. Those are skills that focus on managing and deploying AI models at scale.
So it's not just about creating the model, it's about making sure it runs smoothly, that it's maintained and updated, and that it can handle real-world demands.
Exactly. There are a lot of moving parts to keep track of. It's a dynamic field with a lot of room to specialize. Now let's talk about data science and AI. These are the detectives using AI to uncover insights and solve those complex problems we talked about earlier.
The detectives, all right? What are their superpowers?
Data scientists in AI need a really strong base in statistics, machine learning, and data analysis. They need to look at data, see the patterns, and then build models that can predict what's going to happen next. They're basically telling a story with data.
Oh, I like that. Data storytelling.
Yeah, and remember those generative AI techniques we mentioned before, like prompt engineering, RAG architecture, and fine-tuning pre-trained models? Those are essential tools for data scientists working with AI.
Can you refresh our memory on what those are? They sound pretty complex.
Well, prompt engineering is all about crafting those instructions or prompts that you give to AI models like ChatGPT so you get back the output you want. Think of it as learning how to speak the AI's language.
Okay, so you're like the AI whisperer.
I like that. Then there's ARG architecture, which is all about adding in external data sources to make the model more knowledgeable, more context aware. It's like giving the AI a bigger brain.
And fine-tuning.
Fine-tuning is like taking a pre-trained model and customizing it for a specific task. You're basically tailoring it to your exact needs.
So many different techniques. It's mind-blowing.
I know, right? And as AI gets even more advanced, we're going to see even more sophisticated techniques. It's a constantly evolving field, which is both challenging and really exciting.
So we've got these two distinct paths, software engineering and data science in AI, and they both sound pretty amazing. But I think it's helpful to remember that there's some common ground too, right? What advice did our engineer give that applies to both paths?
He really stressed the importance of building a strong portfolio. No matter which path you choose, you need to show potential employers that you can actually apply your knowledge, that you can build something real with AI, because actions speak louder than words.
You can talk about AI all you want, but ultimately you need to show that you can do it. And he mentioned it's actually easier than ever to start building with AI.
It is. There are tools like Replit that make it really easy to get started, even if you're a beginner.
So even small-scale projects can be a big deal.
Absolutely. Even if it's a simple project, it shows that you're engaged, that you're curious, and that you're taking the initiative to learn and experiment.
It's about showing that you're not just a passive learner, but that you're actively exploring the potential of AI.
You got it. And it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're already working in the field, continuous learning is key. This field changes so fast, you've got to be willing to keep learning and adapting.
So how do you do that? What are some practical steps people can take to stay on top of all these changes in AI?
Following industry blogs and publications is a great place to start. There are tons of great resources out there, like MIT Technology Review, towards data science, OpenAI's blog. You can find amazing content on YouTube and Medium too. And of course, there's always something new popping up on Twitter.
So basically, immerse yourself in the world of AI news and information.
Exactly. Stay curious, read everything you can, and see what people are talking about, what they're building, and don't just read it, try it out. Experiment with new tools, play around with different techniques.
Don't be afraid to break stuff.
Well, maybe not break stuff, but definitely don't be afraid to try new things. And remember, it's okay to not know everything. Part of the fun is figuring it out as you go.
And making mistakes along the way.
Oh, for sure. Making mistakes is part of the learning process. Don't let that discourage you.
So embrace the messiness, be okay with not knowing everything, and just keep experimenting and exploring. It sounds like that's really the key to succeeding in the world of AI.
I think so. It's a field that rewards curiosity, creativity, and a willingness to keep learning. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to discover the next big breakthrough in AI.
That's an exciting thought. But before we get carried away dreaming about the future, I want to bring us back to something we touched on earlier. We talked about all these amazing AI models and techniques, but how do you know which one to use for a particular task? It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the options.
It is. There's no magic formula, no one-size-fits-all answer. But the key is to think about it like choosing the right tool for a job. You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw,
I
right?
know that would be a disaster.
Exactly. And it's the same with AI. You wouldn't use a complex, deep learning model when a simple linear regression model would be more appropriate. You have to consider the problem you're trying to solve, what kind of data you have, and what resources are available.
So it's about having a toolkit of different models, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and then choosing the one that fits the task.
Exactly. And remember, choosing the right model isn't a one-time decision. You might start with one model and then realize later that a different approach would be better. It's all part of the process.
It's about being flexible and adaptable.
Definitely. And the more you learn about different models and techniques, the better you'll be at choosing the right tool for the job.
So it's all about learning, experimenting, and adapting. It sounds like a pretty exciting time to be working in AI.
It is. And it's only going to get more exciting as AI continues to evolve and impact every aspect of our lives. But before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, I want to highlight one more important point our engineer made, something that I think is really crucial for anyone working in this field.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
He talked about the importance of being able to communicate your understanding of AI effectively. It's not enough to just have those technical skills. You need to be able to explain complex AI concepts clearly and concisely to both technical and non-technical audiences.
Oh, that's so important. I've definitely been in situations where I'm trying to explain something technical and I just get lost in the jargon.
It happens to the best of us. But the key is to remember that not everyone speaks the same language. You might be working with stakeholders who don't have a technical background, but they still need to understand how AI can impact their business or their work.
So it's like being a translator, bridging the gap between the world of AI and everyone else.
Exactly. And it's a skill that takes practice. But the more you practice, the better you'll get at explaining AI concepts in a way that people can understand and relate to.
So avoid the jargon, use analogies, and focus on the why, not just the how. Got it.
You got it. And remember, this communication skill is important not just for getting a job in AI, but also for succeeding in your role and ultimately for helping to shape the future of AI in a positive and responsible way.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. We've covered so much ground, from the technical details to the ethical considerations and the potential impact on the future of work.
I agree. It's a vast and complex field, but it's also full of opportunity and excitement.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. There's always something new to learn, something new to explore.
Exactly. And I think that's a great message for our listeners. Don't be afraid to dive in, get your hands dirty, and see where this AI journey takes you. Who knows what amazing things you might discover.
I love that. Embrace the unknown and be open to the possibilities. It's like embarking on a grand adventure. But before we get too carried away, let's pause here for now.
Sounds good.
We've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive, and there's still so much more to explore. We'll be back soon with part two, where we'll delve deeper into some of the specific challenges and opportunities that come with working in AI.
Looking forward to it.
So until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and stay tuned for more AI insights.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be diving back into AI careers with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep going too. Last time we covered a lot, the different types of AI, the skills you need, even touched on some of those ethical things to watch out for. It's becoming clear that AI is not just for the tech geniuses anymore, right?
Definitely not. AI is popping up everywhere. Like, did you know AI is used to personalize those online shopping experiences? You know how you get those recommendations?
Oh yeah, like you might also like this.
Yeah, a lot of times that's AI working behind the scenes, looking at your past purchases and figuring out what you might want to buy next.
That's wild. I never even thought about that, but it makes sense. AI is all about finding patterns and predicting what's going to happen, so I guess it makes sense to use it for shopping too.
Exactly. It's like this invisible force shaping so much of our lives already. But okay, let's get back to those practical tips for actually landing a job in AI. The engineer we were talking about last time, he really stressed the importance of having a portfolio, right?
Yeah, he said it's all about showing, not just telling. But I think a lot of people get stuck on the how. Like, how do you even begin to build an AI project? It feels kind of daunting.
It can be, yeah. But it doesn't have to be this huge, complicated thing. Even small projects can make a big difference. Start by thinking about your interests or even challenges you face in your everyday life. Could AI help with that?
Okay, start small, keep it relatable. Like, what if someone's interested in that software engineering side of AI? What kind of project could show off those skills?
Building a simple chatbot is always a good place to start. There are frameworks out there like Dialogflow or Rasa that are made for building conversational interfaces. It's actually a really fun project, and it teaches you a lot about how to process natural language, how to recognize intent, and how to build a system that can actually talk to a human in a natural way.
Oh, that's cool. What about on the data science side? Any good beginner project ideas
Mhm.
for them?
Building a data visualization dashboard powered by AI is a great option. Pick a topic you're really passionate about. Maybe it's something like climate change or music trends, or even analyzing how people are feeling on social media. Use Python libraries, things like pandas for working with the data, and then libraries like Plotly or Seaborn to make those cool visualizations that tell a story about what's happening in the data.
I love that. Not only do you get to show off your data analysis skills, but you're also learning how to communicate those insights visually, which is so important. Plus, you get to dive into something you're genuinely interested in, which always makes it more fun.
Exactly. Those passion projects really stand out because you can see the enthusiasm shining through.
Okay, so we've got our project ideas. What's the next step?
Now it's time to just jump in and get your hands dirty. There are tons of resources online, tutorials, open source code, even pre-trained models you can use to get started. And don't be afraid to ask for help. The AI community is really supportive. There are always people willing to answer questions and offer guidance.
It's like having a whole team of AI cheerleaders rooting for you.
Yeah.
But okay, what about people who are already working in AI? How do they stay ahead of the curve with everything changing so quickly?
Continuous learning is huge. AI moves so fast, it's not enough to just learn a few things and call it a day. Following industry blogs, attending those webinars, joining online communities like Reddit or Discord groups that are all about AI that can help you stay updated.
So it's about immersing yourself in the AI world, constantly absorbing new information, and evolving your skills.
Yeah, and it's not just about staying informed. Take what you learn and apply it. Try out those new tools, even if they're outside of what you usually do. That's how you really push yourself and find new
It's
possibilities.
like a constant challenge, but a good kind of challenge, right? Speaking of challenges, you mentioned something about AI agents earlier, and I got to admit, I'm a little fuzzy on what those are.
Oh, yeah. AI agents are pretty cool. They're like these supercharged assistants that can automate parts of your work. Imagine things like booking travel, scheduling meetings, even doing research. An AI agent could potentially handle those tasks for you.
Wait, so instead of having 5 people doing those tasks, you might have like 2 people and 3 AI agents.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
Right. And it's not about replacing humans entirely, but augmenting our abilities, freeing us up to focus on those more creative and strategic tasks that AI can't do.
It's about working smarter, not harder. It seems like the possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. But let's get back down to earth for a minute and talk about those 2 main career paths we keep mentioning: software engineering and data science and AI. Can we break those down a little more for our listeners?
Absolutely. Remember we talked about software engineers being like the builders of the AI world?
Yeah, the boulders.
Yeah.
What makes them stand out?
They need a really strong foundation in those programming languages, especially Python. That's kind of their bread and butter. And they need to know how to work with machine learning frameworks, things like TensorFlow and PyTorch. That's how they actually build and train those AI models.
So it's not just any kind of coding, it's coding specifically for AI.
Right, it's specialized coding for AI. And it goes beyond just the code itself. They also have to think about how to design those systems so they can handle the unique demands of AI applications.
Demands like what?
Well, AI models can be incredibly resource intensive, meaning they need a lot of computing power and storage. So software engineers have to figure out how to build systems that are scalable and efficient. Because if the system can't handle the AI model, it won't work.
So it's like they're not just building a regular house, they're building a house that can support a giant robot living inside.
Huh, that's a great analogy. And then there's a whole other area, those AI-related operations, what we call MLOps and LLMops. Those are specialized skills that focus on managing and deploying AI models at scale, making sure they're running smoothly, being maintained and updated, and can handle all those real-world demands.
It sounds like there's a lot to keep track of. It's a dynamic field with so much opportunity to
In AI. Remember those detectives, the ones who are using AI to uncover insights and solve those tricky problems?
Yeah, the detectives, I remember. What are their special skills?
Data scientists and AI need a solid background in statistics, machine learning, and data analysis. They have to be able to understand what the data is saying, find those patterns, and then build models that can predict what's going to happen next. It's really all about storytelling with data.
Oh, I like that. Data storytelling.
It's a great way to think about it. And remember those generative AI techniques we talked about earlier. Things like prompt engineering, RAG architecture, and fine-tuning pre-trained models. Those are all essential tools for data scientists working with AI.
Can you remind us what those are again?
Sure, prompt engineering is all about crafting those instructions, those prompts that you give to AI models like ChatGPT to get back the specific results you're looking for. It's about learning how to communicate with AI effectively.
So it's like you're an AI whisperer.
Mhm. I like that. Then there's ARG architecture, which is about incorporating outside data to make the model more knowledgeable and context aware. It's like giving the AI a bigger, more diverse brain.
And fine-tuned.
Fine-tuning is taking a pre-trained model, one that's already learned a lot, and then customizing it for a specific task or data set. It's like tailoring a suit to fit perfectly.
Wow, so many different approaches and techniques. It's kind of mind-blowing.
I know, right? And it's only going to get more sophisticated as AI keeps evolving. It's a constantly changing field, which is both challenging and incredibly exciting.
So we've got these two paths, software engineering and data science and AI, both super cool, but different in their own way. What advice did our engineer give that applies to both paths, though? What's something they both need to know?
He was really adamant about building a strong portfolio. No matter which path you're on, you've got to show employers that you can actually use your knowledge, that you can build something tangible with AI.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. And he reminded us that it's actually easier than ever to start building with AI. There are tools like Replit that make it really simple to get started.
So you don't need a fancy degree or years of experience. You can just dive in and start experimenting.
That's the beauty of it. And remember, even small projects can make a big difference. The point is to showcase your skills and interests, to prove you can take those AI concepts and apply them to real-world problems.
I love that. Show your passion, show your creativity, and don't be afraid to just try things out.
Exactly. And whether you're just starting out or you've been in the field for a while, continuous learning is so important. The AI landscape is constantly changing, so you have to be willing to keep learning and adapting to keep up.
So it's not a learn it once and you're done kind of field. It's more like a lifelong journey of discovery and growth.
That's a great way to put it. And there are so many ways to keep learning and growing, following industry blogs, attending webinars, joining those online AI communities. It all helps you stay connected and informed.
Any specific blogs or communities you recommend?
MIT Technology Review has great AI coverage. Towards Data Science is another good one. OpenAI's blog is always worth checking out too. And of course, you can find amazing content on YouTube and Medium. For communities, Reddit, Discord, and LinkedIn all have vibrant AI communities where you can connect with other people who are passionate about AI.
It's like having a global support system for your AI journey. That's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And remember, it's not just about staying informed, it's about putting what you learn into practice. Try out new tools, experiment with different techniques, push yourself outside your comfort zone. That's how you really grow and discover those hidden gems.
It's about challenging yourself, embracing the unknown, and just having fun with it.
Oh,
But speaking of challenges, I think a lot of beginners get tripped up by the whole choosing the right AI model thing. We talked about all those different models and techniques, but how do you actually know which one to use?
that's a great question. And it's true, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Choosing the right AI model is a lot like choosing the right tool for a job. You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, right?
It would be a disaster.
Exactly. And it's the same with AI. You have to consider the problem you're trying to solve, the kind of data you have, the resources you have available. A simple linear regression model might be perfect for predicting something like housing prices, but wouldn't work for classifying images. You have to use the right tool for the job.
So it's about having a toolkit of different models and knowing when to use each one.
Right. And choosing the right model isn't a one-time decision either. You might start with one model and then realize that a different approach would be better. It's all about being flexible and adaptable.
So be willing to experiment and adjust your approach as you go. Don't be afraid to try something new.
Exactly. And the more you learn about those different models and techniques, the better you'll be at choosing the right one. It's all about that continuous learning process.
This has been so insightful. It's amazing how much depth and complexity there is to this whole world of AI, but at the same time, it feels so much more accessible than I ever imagined.
I agree. It's such an exciting field to be in right now. There's so much opportunity, so much to learn, and it's only going to get more exciting as AI continues to evolve.
Speaking of evolving, I know we have one more part of this deep dive to go. What can our listeners look forward to in the next episode?
In the next part, we're going to dive into the ethical considerations of AI in more detail, which is something that everyone working in this field needs to be thinking about. We'll also talk about the potential impact of AI on the future of work and how to stay ahead of the curve as those changes unfold.
Sounds like a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. So until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you back here soon to continue our AI journey.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's time for the final part of our AI career deep dive. We've already talked about so much, from understanding what AI even is to those two main career paths, software engineering and data science in AI.
And we even built some hypothetical chatbots and visualized some cool data.
We did. But now it's time to get serious for a minute and talk about the ethics of AI. Because building cool technology is one thing, but building it responsibly is a whole other challenge.
That's so true. And our Google Canada engineer, the one from that YouTube video, he talked about this too. He said, as AI gets more powerful and more integrated into our lives, we have to be really careful about the potential downsides.
It's like that Spider-Man quote, right? With great power comes great responsibility. But what does ethical AI actually mean in practice? What are some things to watch out for?
Well, one of the big ones is bias. AI models are trained on data, right? And if that data reflects existing biases, like those that already exist in society, the AI can actually make those biases worse.
So like, if an AI model is being used to help companies hire people, but it was trained on data that historically favored certain demographics, it could end up recommending candidates who fit that same profile, even if there are other qualified people from different backgrounds.
Exactly. That's why it's so important for people working in AI to be aware of these potential biases and to work on ways to minimize them. It's about building fairness and inclusivity into those systems from the very beginning.
That makes a lot of sense. What other ethical things did the engineer talk about?
Transparency and accountability were big ones too. As AI systems get more complex, it's super important that we can understand how they're making decisions. We shouldn't just blindly trust the output. We should be able to see the reasoning behind it.
So it's like, we need a way to look under the hood and make sure everything is running as it should be.
Exactly. Transparency helps us spot those potential errors, those biases, and make sure AI is being used in a way that aligns with our values.
I like that. Values-aligned AI. Now, we can't talk about AI careers without addressing the elephant in the room, the impact on jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people are worried that AI is going to take over and there won't be any jobs left for humans.
I get it. It's a scary thought. And it's true that some jobs are probably going to be automated, but I also think AI is going to create new jobs, new opportunities that we haven't even thought of yet.
So it's not necessarily about AI taking over completely, but more about AI changing how we work, what kinds of jobs exist.
Right, exactly. And that's where things like adaptability and continuous learning become super important. The engineer said those who are willing to learn new skills, those who embrace change, are going to be the ones who thrive in this new world.
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Hmm.
Don't wait for the AI wave to crash over you. Start learning how to surf it now.
I love that analogy, riding the AI wave. And remember, AI is a tool. It can be used for good or bad, and it's up to us, the humans building and using these tools, to make sure it's used ethically and responsibly.
That's a big responsibility. It can feel a little overwhelming to think about those big ethical questions while also trying to figure out your own AI career path.
I know it's a lot to process, but I think the best approach is to just stay curious, keep learning, and engage with those bigger conversations about AI ethics. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even if they seem tough.
It's about being a responsible citizen of the AI world.
Exactly. And you don't have to have all the answers right now. Just start by being aware of the issues and keep learning as you go.
That's great advice. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of AI careers. We've learned so much from that Google Canada engineer's insights. We've gone from understanding the basics of AI to exploring those different career paths and even tackle some of those tricky ethical considerations.
And we didn't even break a sweat. Well, maybe a little.
Haha, yeah, maybe a little. But I think the big takeaway here is that the AI world is full of possibilities. Whether you're interested in software engineering, data science, or something else entirely, there's a place for you in this exciting and ever-evolving field.
And as that engineer said, embrace AI or fall behind. It's a choice we all have to make.
So to everyone listening, whether you're a seasoned AI pro or just starting your journey, remember to stay curious, keep learning, build amazing things, and never stop asking questions. The future of AI is in our hands. Let's make it a future we can all be proud of.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this AI adventure.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep embracing the amazing world of AI.